Yeah, wearing my party shirt. Ready for traveling, yeah. Traveling after camp is the best. I love traveling after camp. Alright, let's go. What's happening, guys? So today's video, I get asked all the time, how much money should I take for traveling after camp? So I thought I would do a video, kind of break down some of the costs that you might incur when you're traveling, what the options are, what's the cheapest way, and just some like tips and tricks. So we're gonna go through a few things to help you to travel in America after camp and not spend too much money. So let's get started. First up is the type of travel that you can do in America. Obviously there's lots of different options, so I'm just going to go through kind of which is the cheapest, how much kind of roughly things cost, and my kind of recommendations, because I've done a few different things. I've done like flights, I've done treks, I've done buses, I've done cars, and some little nifty tricks and tips in that as well. I'm just going to really briefly talk about treks. So I have done a Camp America trek. You can check out, I've got about 4 videos from the trek I did. It was really cool. The best thing about treks is that basically you don't have to do anything. You pay your money before you go to camp. You don't have to really budget then. It's all paid for. Everything's included, apart from food. So you do buy food when you're there, but they usually do like a kitty. And yeah, you don't really have to think about anything. It's all organised. You just basically rock up. They drive you everywhere. They take you to the places you're staying and accommodation sorted. So if you don't like planning, if you like to just pay it off and not have to worry about it, treks are pretty good for that. Alright, so the first, if you're doing it on your own, thing I'm going to talk about is flying. So flights in America are well cheap. Like, you can get around pretty easily internally, and obviously it's the quickest way to get somewhere. So it means that you can get to the next place super quick. You don't have to do a long journey, and they're not too badly priced. For example, if you're going from New York to San Francisco, which is literally the whole way across America, you can get flights for like $150. So that works out at about £115. So it really isn't that expensive, depending on where you want to go. If you're only going to like a few places, or you just want to get to somewhere that's quite far away and you don't want to waste a load of days, flights are pretty decent. A little tip on flights, there are apparently certain days that if you book your flights on those days, they're cheaper. Apparently Tuesday is the best day to book. If you're searching for flights but not booking them and then you go back to book them, clear your cookies, because it will give you the lowest price then as well. Obviously it's going to be cheaper to fly on a weekday, and seeing as you're not working, try and get flights Monday to Friday. Friday night obviously it will start going up, and then Saturday, Sunday are expensive. So weekday flights are cheaper. And when you're looking for flights, check out Skyscanner. I usually use Skyscanner because it can show you different airports in that area, so you don't necessarily fly into the main airport. It could be cheaper to fly to one of the other smaller ones. And also check out Google Flights, because Google Flights are really good for finding cheap deals as well. Next up is buses. So there is a Greyhound bus in America. It's pretty cheap. If you're doing really long journeys, so like if you wanted to go from say New York to Florida, it's still going to be expensive. Works out at like £150. $150, sorry. If you're doing slightly shorter trips, so like from New York to Washington, it's about $15. So it is really cheap if you're doing those kind of trips rather than really long ones. The only thing about Greyhounds, obviously it takes a really long time because you're on a bus, you're going to stop everywhere. And also some of the people you meet on there could be quite interesting. I did a Greyhound from Chicago to Nashville. It took me hours and hours and hours. Wasn't particularly comfortable. You do get Wi-Fi though, so sit on your phone. I made friends with a preacher from Tennessee, and he was lovely. We had a Macca's on our stop off together. But yeah, it's just long, so if you want to get somewhere quickly, not the best way. Some of the bus stations for Greyhound, you can leave your stuff with them in storage for 24 hours. So if you want to go stop somewhere and you're doing like a long journey, stop off halfway, store your stuff, go see some place, and then get back on a bus, you could always do that. Next up is the train. Like I said, I haven't really used a lot of trains. I did get the cow train, which is like this insane double-decker, and that wasn't too badly priced, but that's obviously a short trip. It was like a 45-minute journey. Amtrak actually do a USA kind of rail pass for 30 days, and you can choose your route, so you can choose the different places you want to stop off and stuff. It's still quite pricey though. It's $689, which works out about £532. Cars. So I think my favourite travelling in America is definitely by car. We did a road trip from California all the way to Florida, and it was so much fun. You just get so much more freedom, so you can stop off where you want to stop, when you want to stop, you can go when you want to go. And you just see so much, and you meet so many random people, and you see so many little random towns. And they're the things that I remember, is just like those weird little towns. And the people. Like, definitely road trip, hands down, is my favourite. When we did it, we booked it on vroom.com, which I've used in lots of different countries. It's the one that I usually use. They give you pretty cheap options. So for 29 days, the cheapest car that I could find for a 22-year-old, so that's over 21. It's going to be cheaper if you're over 21. The older you are, it's going to be slightly cheaper. So if you've got anyone over 25, make them drive and rent the car, because it will be cheaper. So it works out at about $1,890. So between 5 of you, that works out at about 300 quid. And then you've got gas on top of that, which, to be fair, gas is pretty cheap in America, probably at least £50 each. So you're looking at about 350 quid, and that's 29 days travelling in a car all the way across America. Obviously that will vary depending on 1, where you go, 2, how long you have the car for, and 3, how old the driver is. You could look at relocating cars. So there's websites where they need a car, so say like it might be a rental car and they need to get it from one state to the next state, or one town to the next town. You need to drop the car off in this place at this time, this date. But it is super cheap. So accommodation. Hostels aren't really that big a thing. Like, hostels are big everywhere else traveling, but they're not huge in America. So you can still get them around like dorm room type things, but they generally work out the same cost as a hotel room if there's a group of you traveling together. So it's probably better to just get a motel, because you can pay by the room as well, so you can just cram a few people in. So if there's 5 of you, you can easily fit into a motel room. A lot of them, like double rooms, have 2 double beds, and they're pretty decent price as well. So like Super 8 or Motel 6s, they were pretty much the ones we always stayed in on our road trip, because they're pretty cheap. They're very basic, but we didn't really care. We just wanted somewhere to rest for the night, because we weren't really in the hotel room anyway. Check out the widescreen pictures. Generally they work out at like $40 a room for a night. If there's 5 of you, it's under $10 a night for a room. If you are going to be booking lots of motels or hotels, definitely worth doing it for a provider. So somewhere like Expedia or Booking.com. If you keep booking with them, and if you're going to lots of places and staying in lots of places, you'll get really good discounts. You'll get points that you can use on your next booking, get yourself an account and like pile up those points. Wow. There's also Airbnb, which is awesome because it means that you've got an entire house to yourself usually. If there's 5 of you, that works out really well.
Do you want to show us our Airbnb?
I'll show you around. So this is our dining room area, and this is the living area. If you follow me this way, this is the balcony with nothing on it. This is a lamp that looks like flowers. Don't know how the lights work. This is the second bedroom. This is the kitchen, featuring a Logan. And then this is the master bedroom. Quite a large bed. I'll just demonstrate. It's quite large, is the bed. Oh, I've not been in here, but the light's on.
That's the cupboard I thought was a toilet.
A very large cupboard. Oh, there's the towels, Pops! Washer and dryer. For all the things we need to wash and dry in our overnight stay. And that is the house.
Airbnbs are really good. Like, you can split the cost, so it works out a pretty decent price. I say decent a lot. It also means that you can cook there, so you can save money on food and actually make a decent meal as well. You can do your laundry usually. So Airbnbs are really good. Also, if you don't have an Airbnb account, that's really good, because when you refer a friend and they make a booking, you get like 25 quid off or something. And finally there's camping. For me, it wouldn't be my first choice after being at camp for a whole summer. I would rather relax in an actual real bed after sleeping in camp beds for 9 weeks. But if you like camping, you could buy a tent from Walmart really cheap. There are some free campsites in America, so freecampsites.net. They can show you where there's some free campsites. Generally, it doesn't work out that much cheaper than a hotel because it works out at like between 20 and 40 bucks. So if there's a group of you and you've got a 2-man tent, you might as well just get a hotel room. It'll be cheaper to split between you. So tips while you're traveling to try and keep costs down. Number 1, cook your own food. If you're staying in a motel, noodles are really cheap, so that we ended up on our road trip eating noodles quite a lot because every hotel room has a kettle. If you're staying in the hotel and you get a free breakfast, just take a few extra bits of bread or extra croissants, some extra fruit for the day, so you've got snacks or maybe even lunch for free. Get yourself a really big water bottle from Walmart. They're really cheap. It will save you buying water every 10 minutes. A lot of states or towns that you go to will have free events as well, so check the tourist board. Like, you can go to the tourist website. A lot of them will have info centres, so check them out for free events. Especially in the summer, they do a lot of like outdoor music events for free. Obviously a lot of sightseeing is free. If you want to go to the White House or whatever, you can do a lot of sightseeing for free as well. And there are loads of museums and galleries that are free, especially in Washington DC. There was a lot of museums that you could get into for free. Make yourself a daily budget, so like whatever money you have, work it out for however many days you're traveling. So if you're doing 20 days traveling, work out how much each day you need to budget for, because that will really help you think about what you're buying before you buy it. Another tip is to make friends with as many Americans as possible, because it means that, one, they will let you stay in their house because they are probably the most hospitable people I've ever met. They will invite you and they will mean it. So definitely make as many American friends as you can, because it saves you so much money. You don't have to buy accommodation, you can stay with them. Also, they will then drive you around if they have a car. And also they'll just show you the best places to go because they live there, so they know exactly where the good places are. Alright, so there are loads of apps that you can use for things that are going on in the area. Eventbrite's really good because there's a lot of free events on there. You've got Time Out app, you've got Thrillist app. If you're doing a road trip, Gas Buddy app is really good because it tells you where the cheapest gas stations are. So it's really hard to break down how much money you actually need to take with you. Because it all depends on where you're going, what you're doing, who you're going with. Like if you're doing it on your own, it's going to be a bit more expensive than if you've got 4 of you, because you can split costs of stuff, you can split rooms, cars, etc. To give you kind of an idea, my first summer on the road trip that was 30 days, I probably spent about £1,500. And we were like careful, but we definitely enjoyed ourselves and didn't really worry too much about what we were spending. So that was like a decent amount of money. That was 30 days from California to New York, so we obviously did a lot. We rented a car, we stayed in motels every night. If you're doing like all the amusement parks like Disneyland and stuff, obviously they're pricey, so your money's going to go quite a lot on that. So realistically, the only real advice I can give you is just take as much as you can save. It's easy to save money at camp because like your accommodation's free, your food's free, you're at camp all the time. So just when you're at camp, really like be careful with your money, because you'll appreciate it when you finish camp, because it means that you can do so much more. So I hope that helps. Hopefully I've given you kind of a breakdown of some of the costs, so you got a better idea of how much things are. Hopefully the tips will help you when you're away this summer. And if you've got any questions, just drop me a little comment and I'll try and answer them for you. Check out my other videos on camp. There's loads of camp ones, loads of travel ones in America as well, so you can get an idea of different places and what looks cool to you. And hit subscribe, because there is going to be a lot more camp videos coming as well. Oh, and why not follow me on Instagram too? I'll put that somewhere around, maybe like here. You can follow me on Instagram, Last Fiasco Run Travel. Nearly forgot my Instagram name. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, give me a shout, or just give me a shout on Instagram. Let me know where you guys end up going and where your favourite places are.